Sometimes in my head I think, shove it, I'm not doing it anyway. Jo's got this phrase where she says, you just want to scratch your butt. You just want to sit down on the sofa all day and just butt scratch. I get really offended by it. I get snappy and defensive. But when I think deeply about it, I think there's nothing that I'd rather do more than sit on the sofa and butt scratch all day.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah. I often say to my wife that it feels like there's a room full of plates spinning. Like if this room was full of plates spinning on the stick, that's what it feels like. You've got to keep the plates spinning, and you're constantly going from one plate to the next, trying to keep it up, and it's just like very hard to do.
If I know I've got to do jobs, often my internal messaging, which I won't share with Jo or anybody else, is I'm not doing that. I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
I just want to lay on the sofa.
Yeah.
Or leave me alone. Yeah, because it's not all bad, is it?
No.
Because a lot of people that end up in my counselling room aren't people that are lazy.
No. Yeah.
It's people that have had a breakdown because they're overworked. So they come to see me because they're too busy.
Yeah.
Not because they're lazy.
Yeah.
So I think like if we flipped it and said, well, how important is it to be lazy? How important is it to completely slob out and relax? Well, actually, it's fundamental, because people that are overworked, wear their busyness badges, often have mental health breakdowns and end up coming to see me for counselling. So hello, everyone. I'm here with Jon again, and we're exploring the theme of laziness this week. And I'm not sure where it's going to go, but I do feel that I am quite lazy. So let's see where it goes.
Yeah. How are you lazy, do you think, Gary?
I think I don't know whether it's lazy or whether it's needing time off. And I get a little bit stuck in that dynamic because my wife works really, really hard and she's unable to relax. So even when she's finished a work day, she'd come back and she'd potter around the house, and I might be like laying on the sofa, thinking like, oh, I need some time because I've worked hard all day, but there's still jobs to do around the house. Yeah. And that might be then where like she might chuck me a look or make comments about being lazy. But in my head, I'd have this weird thought of, I don't know, I might have started counselling at 8 o'clock in the morning, finished at 7 o'clock at night. So I've had a long day of counselling, and I feel like I almost deserve, and it is deserve, to come in and lay on the sofa and do absolutely nothing. But then I appreciate that there are still jobs. We've got 2 young children, like, I don't know, school stuff needs to get ready, packed lunches need to get ready. They either happen at night or first thing in the morning, so the jobs need to be done. There's washing. There's basically, it's chores, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
So when I finish my work day, I think I shouldn't have to do chores. Yeah. But then, like, Jo equally has a long day at work, and she just can somehow do it. She's got all this energy, and she mucks in and does the chores. Yeah. I wish I had her energy, but I know that's an excuse, and I haven't got it. But sometimes in my head, I think, shove it, I'm not doing it anyway. Yeah.
I do have a similar situation. My wife is very good at getting things done, almost to a detriment, I would say, personally. I think she does too much. She works too hard.
Yeah, I'd say the same as Jo.
She goes on too much. And I tell her, just slow down and sit down. Do you know what I mean? Just stop. She can't have naps. She struggles having naps and things like that, whereas I'm quite happy to have a nap. So it's... I think there is, I don't know whether it's just the chemistry between men and women, and like the way we're wired is different. But I'm the same. At the end of the day, I would like to just take things a bit slower, personally, and just chill out a bit. But there are things to do. You've got the kids, you've got responsibilities, you've got to do stuff. So I end up doing things, but would prefer to take it a bit slower myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's almost like you have to find extra energy, don't you, from like these internal resources that already feel they're depleted or they're gone, and then you have to somehow G yourself up and find that extra bit to put the kids to bed or to do some chores.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a shame, really, because I mean, I would like to give my family the best version of me, but unfortunately they're getting the worst version most nights because work has taken the best version, and that is quite sad, really. But I think fundamentally, yeah, I would prefer to just take a bit of a slower pace overall. Yeah.
Do you think that means then that, because as you're talking, I'm trying to reflect on it at the same time. Do you think it means, because both our examples are similar, I'm hesitant in saying this, but do you think it means not that we're lazy, but that we work too hard and therefore we've got no energy in the evening for our children for the chores because our hours are too long, and if we worked less hours, then we'd be in the home sooner, we'd be able to help out, have more energy for our children and for chores.
Yeah.
And then once we've done all those, then we could chill.
Yeah.
But it's almost as though you and me, for whatever reason, and I guess we can explore this.
Yeah.
Choose work over family.
Yeah.
Choose work over chores.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I necessarily want to do it though. Well, I mean, there's part of me that does do I do my own video editing stuff, which isn't work. It's sort of fun, but I'm trying to do it on the side because I enjoy it and because I want to try and get out of my current job and things like that. So I guess I do choose work from that point of view. But ultimately, it is a case of the fact that we have to make money ultimately, don't we? We have to sort of make money and we have to work and we have to, meet the demands of work and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, so you feel like the demands of work make you work your long hours rather than you choose them, but alongside that you're choosing a hobby that's time consuming. Yeah. I guess it's making me think, like, how do we both relate to chores? Like, how does John relate to the idea of, I don't know, between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. or whatever, like 3 hours every night, that should be chores? Like, how do you relate to that idea?
I hate it, really. I procrastinate at the thought of chores. My wife's very good at sort of getting the job done, getting into it, and she's actually taught me over time to just get the hard stuff done first. And I actually now I sort of prefer it, and I've got better over the time. But I mean, I often think that when I used to come home from school, I used to put homework off right until the end of the day, and just chill out and watch CITV or whatever back in the 90s. So I grew up with that mindset, and my wife has, in a way, blessed me now with like helping me change my mindset, getting the hard stuff done first, then resting. But yeah, in terms of relating to chores, I don't like chores and I try and avoid them at all costs. And it's usually, unfortunately, my wife who is the main motivator in getting the chores done. Yeah, for the bigger chores anyway, at least. I mean, obviously, I do just I do help around the house and sort of help with the kids and stuff like that. I know what needs to be done and I do it. But yeah, she is the main motivator for sort of sorting out my cupboard in my bedroom or something like that, sorting out the office and things like that because it's got messy. So yeah, I don't know why I'm lazy like that in a way, but yeah, I am.
Do you have any like internal messaging that's going on at the same time? Like, if your office needs clearing or you need to clean out your cupboard in your room, and it normally falls to Bex to do that sort of thing, and she's the main motivator. Do you have like any internal messaging? So like what I mean by that is if I know I've got to do jobs, often my internal messaging, which I won't share with Joe or anybody else, is I'm not doing that. No, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
I just want to lay on the sofa,
yeah.
or leave me alone, or I just want to watch TV,
yeah.
or I just want to go to bed.
Yeah.
Like all of those sort of internal messages that sometimes I need to think, oh, man up, Gary, get over yourself and do some chores.
Yeah.
And then other times maybe I need to listen to them in order to help myself relax. Because I think relaxing is important, and it's not given enough airtime, I don't think, how important it is to relax.
It's not rated highly enough, is it? Yeah, that's right.
But do you have internal messaging?
I do, yeah. I mean, particularly say if and it does happen a fair bit. If I sort of go in and sit down on the couch or something like that and think, I can just take a moment, like within a few minutes, Beck or the kids or someone has called me and I have to stand up again. And that sort of, it reminds me of Muttley from Wacky Racers back in the day. Like it's sort of like, so that sort of internal message goes off in my head, like, seriously. You like,
yeah, almost like let me sit down.
Yeah, I just want to sit down. I just want to relax. Do we really have to do whatever's high priority?
Yeah, there's an internal message, isn't there? Like, do we really have to?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and to me, it doesn't feel high priority. I can put up with more mess, but I mean, Beck sometimes says that the house is in a dreadful state, and I think looks pretty nice to me. So I genuinely think that's what goes off in my head. So it's funny, isn't it? Yeah.
Because you've got that relational dynamic in the middle of asking yourself the question of like, am I tidy? Am I lazy? And then there's the separate human being that has their own relationship to tidiness or laziness, and you live with them, and you're two different beings relating to all those things differently. So what you think is really, really messy to Bex is an absolute bomb site. But you might think something's really, really tidy, and she might think, no, that's still messy. That's still a bit messy.
That's right. Yeah, it's your standards ultimately, isn't it? Yeah. One of my first jobs was being a cleaner, which my wife just laughs at because I'm just the least clean person in the world. I did it for 4 years, and people used to pull me in places and say, that's dirty. And I was like, that's not dirty. I'll clean that. It's funny, but yeah, no, it's a weird. It is all about your standards, isn't it? So I think Beck grew up in a bit more of a tidier household. If I'm honest, my family was quite a messy household. I don't know what yours was.
Yeah, I grew up in a much messier household than Joe grew up in. Yeah, and I think something you said earlier as well. Like I think it is about standards, but I think it's also about priorities. Yeah. So for Joe, like, a priority is to have a clean and tidy house. So often when I finish work at 7 o'clock, I've got like an hour period to spend time with my 7-year-old and my 5-year-old before we put them to bed. Yeah. So when I come down, I'm thinking about engaging with my children. Yeah. And generally that means sitting on the sofa watching something on Disney Plus with them. So it feels like I'm being lazy. And in some respects I am, but a priority to me is, I just want to be around my children for this hour because I don't get to see them much, rather than pulled into chores. So I could quite easily go down at 7 and just spend an hour in the kitchen and then put the kids to bed. There'd be enough jobs to do. There's never a shortage of jobs.
No, that's it,
But my priority isn't a clean house. No. In that moment, my priority is... And I know it feels like I'm taking the moral high ground, but I'm not. I just want to spend a little bit of time with my kids. Yeah. But then the laziness kicks in, because if I went down there at 7 o'clock, I want to spend time with the kids according to me. Yeah. Like on my, I get to set how we spend that time. So if I come down at 7 o'clock and they say, Daddy, can you play with me? Then my laziness kicks in. I'm thinking in my head, how can I get out of this? Yeah. How can I get out of playing with him? Oh, should we watch that on TV? Yeah. Or should we play on the Switch? Yeah. Or like I'm trying to adjust it so I can be with them but chill out at the same time, so you and be lazy at the same time. Tick the box
for you and for them. Yeah. Ultimately. Yeah. Whereas you're, if you were to sit there and play, you're sacrificing.
Yeah, like on their terms. So maybe like playing dolls or cars or whatever. Yeah. I think in that moment, I'd rather be doing chores, which is a bit odd, isn't it? Yeah, because I'm saying it's all about the kids when I come down. Yeah. But actually, it's not really all about the kids, is it? No, it's all about me when I come down.
Yeah, it's very true, and I think this is what I'm fascinated with my wife. Really, is she's a lot more selfless than I am. I thought I was quite a selfless person until I met her. It's like,
I think that does come into it. I think Joe's more selfless than me because ultimately, Joe's got this phrase where she says, you just want to scratch your butt. You just want to sit down on the sofa all day and just butt scratch.
Yeah.
And I get really offended by it. I get snappy and defensive. But when I think deeply about it, I think there's nothing that I'd rather do more than sit on the sofa and butt scratch all day. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's it. I sometimes think the same thing. Like, it's my birthday coming up, and I just would like to just go to the cinema all day on my own. I'd be quite happy with that. Just like sit and watch films all day, back to back. I literally actually want to do that. It's on my bucket list.
And what does that represent? Just like, I can do what I want with my time, and I just want to chill out and people to leave me alone.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I think, again, being an introvert, I get drained throughout the day. People are draining me constantly. And so when I'm on my own, I'm recharging, and it's nothing personal against my family or anyone. It's that I genuinely do find it helpful.
Just want to be on your own. So that idea of the cinema, where there's no one's forcing you to speak to anyone. In fact, the expectation is to be quiet.
Yeah,
you just get that window of just being on your own.
That's
uninterrupted.
Right. No, that's it. But it's quite a sad way to live, really, and I do admire my wife, really, in terms of her selflessness and the fact that she will keep doing things. And I mean, shopping is another one for me. My wife buys, does the weekly shop on Sainsbury's. We get it delivered to make it easier. But she has to go around the house and sort of see what we've got and what we haven't got. But I know 100% if it was me doing it, our cupboards would be pretty much empty.
Same. I don't think I've ever done. This is like, dishing ourselves really, but we deserve it, don't we? I don't think I've ever done. I've maybe gone shopping once or twice in my life, and I really relate to what you're saying there. I think I wouldn't even know what to buy.
No, that's
and the house might be full of like crisps, chocolate and sweets. There wouldn't be much like washing powder or fruit and veg, or like I just wouldn't have a clue.
No,
and I think they are. I think I've always assumed that I am more selfless than Joe.
Yeah.
But when I sit back, I think, no, you're not, Gary. Absolutely no chance.
No, that's right. Yeah. No, it's true, really. I mean, I don't know whether it's just. I think you explaining what Joe's like is quite interesting, because I never realised. In a way, I thought maybe it's just Beck. So it's interesting that Joe's similar to Beck.
Yeah, and I don't think that dynamic is just male female.
No,
I just think we
just so happens.
Joe, I think sometimes like the dynamic is opposite to what we're talking about. Like this is stereo. We fit the stereotype, don't we?
Yeah, that's right.
But their stereotypes are out there for a reason, aren't they?
Yeah.
And like we're definitely stereotypically lazy blokes when it comes to chores and household jobs. And
I do think I'm quite good though in comparison to other men, because
we do that too. I thought we'd come onto this subject. You compare yourself to other guys.
I do, because I mean, if you watch Don't Tell the Bride, for instance, I don't know whether you've ever seen that.
I've not seen it.
No, but all the men on there are just painted like as just utter rubbish. Like they just sit around playing the PS4 all the time, and you see the fiancé sort of hoovering around them and like lifting their feet up and stuff like that. And I don't know it's just, so I then instantly think, oh, I'm pretty good then.
Yeah, I do exactly the same
I've actually
thing.
said to my wife, like, look at them, I mean, I'm literally better than them, so.
I do a very similar thing. Do you ever get into the you always lose anyway, well I do, like listing off what you do. So I might make a comparison with somebody else where I don't think they're doing so much, and I'd be like, but I do clean out the guinea pigs.
That's right.
But I do hoover, actually.
Particularly in an argument, it comes out, doesn't it? It's like, remember,
you
I
get
do
your
that.
list out, but then you realise you've got like 5 or 6 things on your list, and they've got about 100.
That's right. Yeah. Then you go quiet again.
But then you are like, but like that guy down the road, he's got nothing on his list. He literally does nothing. As if that's a justification. Because really the list that you should be comparing yourself with is your partner's. But we don't, do we? We find someone else that's doing less than us. That's more lazy, so it makes us not as lazy.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, but I do feel. I mean, I do work pretty hard, really. Like I was up at 4:30 this morning and went to the gym and stuff.
So then we seek to justify.
Yeah, that's
don't
right.
we?
Yeah,
I do it all the time.
Yeah. And but equally, I do just have this inner desire to just sit back and relax. There's something. I almost feel like it helps my mental health though. Like, and when I don't get that space, I feel like my mental health in a way suffers a little bit.
Yeah, because it's not all bad, is it?
No.
Because a lot of people that end up in my counselling room aren't people that are lazy.
No, yeah.
It's people that have had a breakdown because they're overworked. So that they come to see me because they're too busy.
Yeah.
Not because they're lazy.
Yeah.
So I think, like, if we flipped it and said, well, how important is it to be lazy? How important is it to completely slob out and relax? Well, actually, it's fundamental, because people that are overworked, wear their busyness badges, often have mental health breakdowns and end up coming to see me for counselling.
That's right, exactly, yeah.
So there's a line there, isn't there?
I think it's all about balance, really. I think, the more balanced we are in every area of our life, the better our life will be, I think. It's when we go to swing to extremes.
Yeah, one extreme or the other.
If we're just always on the couch, then it's dangerous. We're going to die, quite frankly, if we just sit there.
It's quite appealing, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, just sit on the couch and just munch out watching continuous movies.
Definitely,
and we'll eat ourselves to death.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but it is, as you say, it's all about balance.
Yeah, that's right. So it is just all about balance, really, and it's trying to. I think it's in a family dynamic. It's particularly hard. Obviously, when you're single, you can just decide what you're going to do, and that does make it a bit easier, really. But when you sort of bring in others, you have to work with them.
There's conflict there, isn't there? Or potential conflict.
Yeah, because I do think my wife does need to slow down a bit. Like,
because
I mean, she's very good, but she does need to slow down slightly, because she's like, I told her over the Christmas period, just chill out. It's okay, just relax a bit.
Yeah, because if I asked you a moral question in relation to that, if I said, because I find this quite interesting, because I think morally, people think if you're lazy, that's wrong. That's morally wrong. You're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're super, super busy, people are like, well done.
Yeah.
And they're almost like proud of you.
Yeah.
So do you think it's wrong to be super, super busy? Is that morally wrong?
It's a very good question, yeah. I think it is, to be honest. Because life isn't all about busyness, is it? It's like you're missing out on like the joy of other things, aren't you? The joy of being with your kids or whatever.
Yeah, like being fully present
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a very valid point, but we shun it, particularly in the West, but I'm guessing in England as well. We've sort of got the Margaret Thatcher sort of work every hour under the sun sort of mentality that we've grown up with, really. So yeah, I think actually you're completely right. It is morally wrong, but that thought has never occurred to me.
No, because we assume that to be lazy is morally wrong, don't we? And that maybe links in with, I don't know, people collecting benefits when they perhaps shouldn't be. They're feigning, I don't know, physical health problems. The people that screw over the system deliberately. Yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah, they're doing that. They're morally wrong. They're doing it out of laziness. But someone that works really, really hard, but neglects their kids. Oh, they're not morally wrong. They're working really, really, really hard. They're not doing anything wrong.
And when we get to the end of it all, are we going to look back and think, oh, I'm jolly good, I worked every hour under the sun for
where's my
company
medal?
I don't enjoy?
I've got no friends, I've got no family. Yeah, I'm working for a company that I don't even enjoy. What am I doing? What am I doing this all for?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you were to spend a decent amount of time with your family and then you're on your deathbed later in your 80s, you're not going to look back and think, oh, I wish I worked a lot harder for that company and all this. You're not.
No, you're going to wish you were closer to people.
Yeah, closer to people. It's about
like
people
relationally, yeah.
But for some reason, we go through our life and society sort of focused on work. We've got to be career driven. We've got to, climb the ladder and be better and sort of aspire to be a better version of ourselves in our career. But actually, what does it all boil down to? Is that just leading to a very sad, lonely life that we're going to have, that's going to be full of regrets ultimately.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's very, as you were saying, like culturally, I think we're caught up in something, aren't we, where it's not quite the same in other cultures.
No.
So I don't know, often that maybe the French have a nice 2-hour lunch break.
Yeah.
Or like the Spanish have a siesta in the middle of the
That
day.
sounds amazing.
Like, so we're kind of
Yeah.
focused on like work should be this particular chunk of time.
Yeah.
But other cultures might not do it like us.
No, that's
and,
right.
And actually might be more happy.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. So I think actually what we're saying is there's lessons to be learned from laziness. It's not all bad.
Yeah, I think like the word laziness has negative connotations, doesn't it? So if we change that to relaxing, like I'll tell you this funny story. Like it just popped into my head with Joe and I said this was months ago. I said, because we were arguing about this, that I was slobbing out on the sofa. I was just watching movies with the kids, and she was doing all the chores. So I said, right, I want you to spend more time with the children, relaxing and slobbing out and watching movies, and you want me to do more chores. Let's swap it.
Yeah.
I said, next week I will do all the chores, and you're not allowed to leave the sofa after work. You just got to watch movies with the kids.
Great idea.
Interestingly enough, I could do it. She couldn't.
Oh, interesting.
She couldn't do it.
Yeah, see, I reckon Beck would be the same.
Which was quite interesting, because I was doing the chores.
Yeah.
The chores were getting done. But Jo could not bring herself to a place of being able to relax.
No.
It was impossible for her to relax.
And I wonder whether it's because kids are quite draining ultimately, because you have to police them. So in a way, it's sort of you're working whilst you're watching the TV, aren't you? Cause
and that maybe they're fighting or they're arguing, or like
right.
someone doesn't want to watch what the other person wants to watch. It's not as straightforward as it appears. Like we were speaking, weren't we, before we came up here, that I feel like going to work is more like being on holiday than it is spending a day with the children. That actually that can be quite hard, draining, quite hard sometimes. And I love my kids, but energy wise they pull the energy out of you.
It's like we've got an inner battery, isn't it, that's draining all the time with the kids.
So if I said to you, like, what's more energy zapping for you, to do the washing up for let's say it takes half an hour, you've got a big load of washing up, to do the washing up for half an hour, or to play with your children on their terms, so you don't get to say, oh, we're playing on the computer. They make up the game. Play with the children for half an hour. What takes more of your energy?
Definitely playing. Yeah, without a doubt. And in fact, I'm rubbish at playing with my kids, which I'm ashamed to say, really. Like I played with, over Christmas. I made the decision, having sort of had some of these types of chats in the last year, I sort of made the decision to go and play with my son early in the morning, because he was asking his brother to play with him and his brother was tired. And I sort of got in the middle of it and I said, Dan, let's go and play, and Sim can go and have a rest. And I sort of made the decision to play with him, but that was quite hard work. And I felt ashamed when I was doing it, because I was thinking, this is probably the first ever time really that I've played with my kids. Like, I mean, I'm dreadful like that, really, because I for various reasons, but yeah, I think it's wrong. It's wrong, isn't it? Ultimately, we should, but ultimately there is a drain factor, isn't there? So,
and I think that maybe that's what we're acknowledging, is that life, like to work or being with children or doing chores or whatever it is, has a draining impact on us, and that's why you say phrases like, "Oh, I was just thinking about my birthday, and if I could just watch a bit of cinema all day, and just do nothing," because you're wanting to replenish, aren't you? You're wanting to get away from that draining feeling.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I sometimes sort of look back on when I was single and without kids and think, those were the days, man. Like, I mean, I feel bad to say it, really.
Well, you could be lazy without guilt.
Yeah, that's right. You could just make your own decisions and do what you want and chill out. Yeah.
Whereas now it feels like, because you're in a relationship, like you can't, I don't know, chill out without guilt if the other person isn't chilling out. So like if you're both chilling out, it's fine, isn't it? You can relax then. And that can be lovely, actually, really quite nice. But if one of you's working and the other one's chilling out, you get this interesting dynamic then with guilt. Like,
but
I'm not allowed.
I find it hard because Beck wants to work more than me.
Yeah.
I think that is hard because then I feel guilty that I'm not helping her. But equally, Beck does, you know, I think she struggles with guilt if she rests. And I do try and sort of put her at ease and sort of say, you don't have to feel guilty, it's okay. But yeah, there's a struggle there, and I think
there's a dynamic, isn't there? Maybe for both of our partners, we could ask them, who are you working for?
Yeah.
Like, who's Beck's working for to get the house that clean, that tidy, or who's Joe? Who are they working for? Are they working for themselves, or maybe working to please people, or trying to keep up with the Joneses, or is it to do with their family dynamic? Are they working for their mum or their dad? Who are they actually working for? Because sometimes it's not themselves, because you mentioned earlier that sometimes it's a detriment to Bex. You can see that it's detrimental to her. And I can see the same for Joe.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. I mean, there's this story in the Bible, isn't there, where Jesus sort of goes to a party, and then like there's two sisters, and one of them sort of sits down and just chills out and listens to Jesus talking, and then the other's running around getting Jesus some food together and drinks and all this lot, and Jesus turns around to her and says, Martha, what the heck are you doing, type thing. Mary's chosen the best option and is just sitting there chilling out, listening to me, getting to know me, type thing, and you're running around. And it does remind me of that. And again, it's all about balance, I think, ultimately, because obviously things do need to be done, otherwise we would just be slumming it all the time. But I think there is a huge thing about balance, ultimately, with it all.
Do you think in order to find the balance, both for you and me, because we both have a similar dynamic, is that you and I find a little bit more energy to do the chores or the things that we don't really want to do, even when we feel we should be relaxing, and then try to encourage our partners to relax more, even if they feel that they can't. Do you know what I mean?
Take on some
in
more
order
chores
to find
ourselves.
the balance. What should we do?
That's a very good point. I think really what I should do is offer to help a bit more than I'm doing at the moment, just a chunk more. So then I can sort of say to Beck, look, I'm doing a bit more here. I'll take the weight off this area that you're currently carrying. Why don't you chill out a little bit more yourself in that way?
Because is Beck's able to relax once all the chores are done?
Well, she I mean, she struggles with relaxing in general, I think, but I think if the chores are done, then her mind is more at peace. Ultimately, it's to do with her mental health. Actually, she finds her mental health is best when things are just so and right,
like organised,
and clean, and
achieved.
Things like that. So if I help, I guess there's a part for me to play. It's not just about trying to chill her out. It's about sort of me taking some of the weight off her shoulders so she can feel like she can chill out. I think that's a very good point. And something that came to me was prioritising work less, ultimately. Trying to sort of say, actually, my family are more important, and my wife is more important than typing on a computer screen and on a computer. So why don't I sort of lower my priority and focus on work and try and change my focus towards my family and being with them, helping them out?
I guess that's where things like we've spoken before, haven't we? Like date nights, or like family days. That's where those sort of things come in. But in doing those, work in some way has to give way a little bit, or your hobby has to give way a little bit. And you started, didn't you, earlier today in the kitchen by saying to me, oh, sorry, Gary, I haven't had enough time to put some of these videos together. When perhaps you shouldn't really be rushing yourself to put them together. Thinking, no, actually, I'm going to be with Bex a little bit more. I'm going to be with my children a bit more. Because I'm not applying any pressure to you, but I think you're applying it to yourself.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, with these videos and podcasts and things, I like to try and keep to a monthly schedule. I mean, even the monthly thing I'm thinking isn't good enough. I would love to do a weekly thing. Obviously that's not possible. So like to then expand beyond a month does my head in a bit, and it starts to sort of have a meltdown in that regard.
So you need, just like Bex needs all her jobs to be done and that sense of achievement until she could relax, your mind's also organised in a particular way. These have to be done every month. This particular video has to be done in this way. I need to do my work between these hours. So you're both like squeezing time, aren't you? Time's being squeezed, and then it slips through your fingers. You suddenly find you haven't got enough time.
No,
or Bex has not got enough time. Do you ever say that to each other? We've not got enough time.
Loads really. Yeah. I mean, that's why I get up at 5 every day just to make more time, really. Well, not every day, but I do my best to get up early when I can. And most of these videos and podcasts are done at 5 a.m, to be honest, and maybe 11 p.m. or whatever.
So you're squeezing time.
That's right. And perhaps to the detriment of my family, but it's hard to balance life, isn't it? It's so many things. Like I often say to my wife that it feels like there's a room full of plates spinning. Like if this room was full of plates spinning on a stick, that's what it feels like. You've got to keep the plates spinning, and you're constantly going from one plate to the next, trying to keep it up, and it's just very hard to do.
It's impossible.
It's hard to get the balance right.
And then to the thought of like slobbing out on the sofa.
And just stuff the plates. Let's just let them smash to the ground and just like chill out, go into our own world.
And I think people have that sometimes, don't they? That feeling of when you're doing too much. That crashing feeling of, okay, I won't do anything then.
That's right. Exactly. It's trying not to take that approach and trying to get a balance. But that's the tricky thing. So, well, that was a good session. Thanks a lot, Gary.
Interesting, wasn't it?
Oh, great.
I don't know whether we be any less lazy.
Oh no.
Or is it actually laziness, or are we
relaxing? Well, I think this is what I love about these sessions. Really, is that we're thrashing through these areas of life which all of us have inside our heads, but we never verbalise. And I think actually verbalising it really helps me out, because once we verbalised it, I've got that thought in my head now that, like for instance, you said that, is it morally wrong to sort of be working all the time? And that thought had never been in my head, but now it is, because we've had this chat. So I think now when I'm working too hard, I'll be thinking about what we said and things. So it will help, but it's just hard to balance, juggle the plates, isn't it?
And that's the word that you keep coming back to, isn't it? Is that word balance. And I think, what's in the middle of overworking and laziness is a balanced life, isn't it? That's what's in the middle of those two places.
That's right.
And maybe we automatically lean towards one or the other, but we're all perhaps trying to find that middle place.
I think what I find hard though is we've got mortgages to pay, bills to pay. So how do we reconcile all of these things together when we've got bills to pay and we've got to make money?
Really difficult. And that in itself is a dilemma, isn't it?
And this is why I personally have been fairly keen on trying to find some form of passive income over the last few years, just because then it will help
free up time.
Free up time. But to be honest, it feels, the more I go on, it feels more of a pipe dream than anything else. But cool. Okay. Well, thanks so much. Yeah, good stuff.
Cool.
Thank you.
The following has been left in because it might be interesting.
Right.
Yeah, that is a very interesting subject.
Yeah.
It would have been an interesting one to get the girls in on, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting to get their thoughts about it.
Yeah. That's it.
Really, it's overworking, lazy.
Could be, from the, I don't know, is it?
Like you're not spending time with your kids, that's a bit lazy.
Yeah.
You're not doing all the other things that you could be doing. You're not investing in relationships. You're being lazy in relationships.
Yeah.
You're overworking.
Yeah.
So I wish I said that really.